This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Today, it's the Friday News Roundup, and it's the first one of the year, and a couple of us are a little sick-sounding because guess what? Sicknesses are abound, but we're here to serve you. Joining me today for this Friday News Roundup is our executive producer, Haley Sperling. Hey, Haley.
Hi, Bianca. It's me. I'm the other sicko on the call. Excuse the nasalness. I don't know.
Sickos unite! And our sane, healthy friend, newsletter editor, Rob Thomas. Hey, Rob.
I feel kind of uncool not being sick. Like that's the hot new thing at CityCast Madison. And I'm out of the loop.
You can be down with the sickness, down for the cause. We're no longer down for the count. We're all in. But yeah, we've got plenty of news to get into, and we're happy to be back. It's lovely to see y'all. We're back in the saddles. Okay, enough metaphors. A little bit. I'm going to actually start with one. I'm kicking us off this week with a story on data centers, because there's some happenings here in Dane County, and it's hot. Metaphorically and in the future, possibly literally, because servers need cooling. Okay, enough of this. The news is for our close neighbor to the north, the village of DeForest, about 15 miles north of Madison. DeForest is in a public debate, similar to others across the state, surrounding a proposal for a $12 billion, that's billion with a B, so lean in Dane County, over 1,600-acre data center campus from QTS, or Quality Technology Services Company out of Virginia. So just really quick reminder that data centers are basically the backbone of the internet. They're the warehouses of servers and the physical infrastructure of the cloud. Okay, y'all, unless y'all are super up on DeForest news, this is going to take a little bit of a setup for this news story. Are y'all in for that?
I'm so in for that. I need it. I've been seeing the discourse happen online, but I'm like, I don't want to read all of that right now. So someone explain it to me. And thankfully, Bianca's here to explain it.
That's what we're here for. Yeah.
Here we are. Exactly. And I felt the exact same way. So now know a little bit more to impart. So QTS's proposed campus is planned to be built on a chunk of farmland in Vienna, Wisconsin. Vienna sits right next to DeForest and is unincorporated. So they don't, according to QTS, really have the water and sewer hookups needed. So QTS is looking to DeForest Village to annex that Vienna land. That's the news of the week. DeForest Village Board had a meeting. It was pretty eventful. It lasted over 4 hours, discussing this proposal. And one of the reasons is there was a resident-led referendum request that pulled in over 1,000 signatures in less than a week. And y'all, DeForest is only around 11,000 people, so that's not for nothing to pull in 1,000 signatures. And the referendum ask would be that any development on annexed land larger than 30 acres, which by all means this would be, or costing village residents more than 10 million, which by so many degrees would be that, would go to a referendum. And the board shot that down, saying that they couldn't do that for every building permit. They would likely get sued. It just wasn't legally feasible. So democracy loses? I don't know. Y'all are at least briefly familiar with the story. I can keep going, but do you have any thoughts about that outcome or, this proposed development so far?
I mean, to me, it's just I love to see all of the people getting involved. People clearly are passionate about this and have a lot to say and have a lot of thoughts and deserve for those thoughts and feelings to be heard. But it is encouraging to see people getting out there, collecting signatures. I know a lot of people showed up to this village board meeting. And like you said, 4 hours, that's a lot of time to be at a meeting. So it's encouraging to see people getting out there, getting involved, getting educated, informing others, and getting in on the fight and getting in on the news that impacts their community. This is huge. It's huge all around.
Yeah, it's bringing up Port Washington to me, like one of the other places in Wisconsin that has actually already approved a data center, but people being really upset and angry with their leaders. Like, what did you do? What are, trying to have a voice? And here you get 1,000 signatures for your 11,000 resident village, not city or town. And, it didn't go anywhere. So I know people are still going to have their voices involved in this, but it definitely feels a little bit like a loss for democracy. But there was a lot of discussion. A lot of folks came out. There's pro voices for the data center, largely from the union side, where folks are looking for the jobs. There would be at least 5 buildings for this campus and probably more, but 5 for sure. So that's construction work. And QTS told Cap Times that they estimate the project would create around 5,000 local construction jobs and once built roughly 700 permanent jobs from maintenance and security work to tech positions. So I saw some, pro voices there. Also, QTS told Channel 3000, this is their estimate, that the proposed development would generate an estimated $1.2 billion in assessed value over 4 years, which is just incredible. DeForest is about the size of the small town I grew up in Baraboo. And to think about these numbers, so the opponents, the voices speaking out in concern, they're talking about issues with environmental impacts, water usage, light pollution. Folks are worried about the utility bills being impacted, and also how this will impact the character of these areas and, frankly, home values. People are leaving areas where these places are going up. I've personally seen the effects of the data center in Port Washington, and it's really bright. At dusk, this is not, it's like all of a sudden a Walmart times how I don't know many times, just shows up right in your rural area. It's going to have a pretty big impact. And I don't know, something that kind of stuck out to me from a Channel 3000 story I saw was that there is a resident in DeForest who works to audit companies like QTS. And she said that, you throw $50 million at a place that is the size of DeForest, and people are probably going to jump at it, but they might not know who they're actually getting into business with. And years down the line, DeForest might not be able to really fight a company who decides to maybe go derelict in their promises or duties for stewardship down the line. Financially, they're just going to be a behemoth. So obviously, this is really heated, and it's a lot of questions and uncertainty. But at this point, it's yet to be seen, what kind of impact the residents can have. And in the meantime, QTS and the village of DeForest is looking at pre-annexation contracts and trying to move forward.
This is such a big story, and it seems like, one of the key components in this debate and in this battle, too, is also just the identity of the communities that they're trying to build in. I know that was a big component of the Cap Times. This was their cover story this week, written by Olivia Harkin. These folks that live out in these rural communities like that. They want them to be rural. They want them to have that small town feel, to add this, what you said, $1.2 billion in assessed value. People don't really care about that, or they don't necessarily want that in their small Wisconsin town. They want the charm and the feel of a small Wisconsin town. And data center is kind of antithetical to that.
Or they might want the money,
right?
But they don't want the data center. That's not the way, and it's going to impact the birds.
Well, I kept thinking about, on Monday, we released a podcast episode with CityCast CEO David Plotz talking to the hosts from all the cities about the big stories of 2026. And Bianca, you brought up data centers. And I really urge people to go back and listen to that episode because it was a really interesting conversation. I thought David was very much like, this is, our economy needs these data centers. And in many ways, it's like the new manufacturing. But a lot of the hosts were pushing back and talking about those environmental impacts. And I mean, it makes me think about the Rust Belt and how factories were 50, 70 years ago, and how once those businesses dried up, I mean, it permanently changed the character of those towns. And so kind of like you say, there's a lot of money being pushed up front, but residents, I think, are also thinking about how will this change our community permanently. So people should listen to that episode. I thought it was a great conversation.
Thanks for calling that out, Rob. Yeah, that was kind of astounding. The whole the whole country lit up in that conversation.
You swarmed him. Yeah.
I really appreciate that recommendation. And I think I so agree with you. It's like our memory isn't that short. And it feels eerie and it feels like people don't want to get exploited. However, economic times, it is extremely hard. And there are voices on the pro side that are saying, these are still jobs and we have financial issues right now. What are we doing about those right now? So we're going to continue to follow the story. It's in Dane County. It's a massive development, and that was the latest this week. But we've got more news to get to, and some even right here directly in Madison, some local politics. We're going to get to that in a moment, but first, let's take a quick break. New year, new hopefuls. Madison has some politicos turning and wheeling, and I'm making all kind of verbs up. People have been stepping around, bringing flyers. I don't know. People are in politics. Haley, you've got the story.
That's one way to get there. Yeah.
These wheels are trying to turn.
Well, it's never too early to start thinking about election season, right, guys? I know you're excited.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, let's go. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. And we've got a busy year here in 2026 with local, regional, and statewide elections happening throughout this year. And right around the corner, you guys, is the spring election. So do you guys have your calendars handy? Because I'm about to dish some important dates. Get your pens out, get your Post-its out. The spring election itself is happening on April 7th. And the primary is happening on February 17th. So that is really not far away. This is one that sneaks up on people, but it's still important. And this week actually was the deadline for candidates to submit their paperwork to election clerks. So things are like more or less finalized, unless there's challenges to anyone's paperwork, because that can happen. And if so, there is a chance that someone may or may not get removed from the ballot. But with that in mind, what are we voting on anyways? Like I said, there are local, regional, and statewide elections happening. We'll start off at the local level with school board. So 2 of the MMSD's 7 school board seats are up for election, and both of the races are contested this year. If you guys will recall, only one seat was contested last year when Brett Wagner and Martha Saravo were on the ballot, and ultimately Martha won that race. And since school board seats aren't geographically bound, everyone who lives in the district will vote in both of these races. So if you live in the Madison School District, you will be voting on 2 school board seats. So 6-seat incumbent school board member Blair Mosner Feltham is being challenged by Daniela Muley, who is a researcher at the Wisconsin Center for Education Research at UW-Madison. And seat 7 incumbent Nikki Vandermolen is being challenged by Dana Colosi Lind, who is an IT manager. So we love seeing folks get involved in school board races. It's always exciting to see folks stepping up and seeing people get interested in education here. So that will definitely be 2 races for us to be watching.
Is that a benefit to having like everybody in the pool for every school board seat? Is that like, anybody can run, so everybody has skin in the game, as opposed to like little districts where you might be so happy with your representative that you don't bother to run against them?
I think that's kind of exactly how it works, right? Is that like you live in the district and so everyone's kind of got to say.
The thing that feels exciting to me is that there are so many qualified people, that there are like really great professionals in the Madison area that care about schools, that care about education, that are educated, that want to share their like talents and gifts. And I mean, part of me is like, everyone gets a car. Like everyone should be able to do it. But that's me.
You get a seat on school board and you get a seat on school board. Yeah.
That's not how it works, but that's what's going on in my mind. I wish everyone could, have the opportunity that is qualified.
Everyone's a winner, right?
Yeah.
Well, so school board is just one of the local bits that we will be voting on this year. Also on the local ballot is all of the even numbered city council districts. So if you guys remember last year, all of our city council members competed for a 1-year term back in the spring so that we could kick off this new sort of like staggered term system. And now the winners in this year's race will serve 2-year terms. So we're fully on this staggered system now. Very exciting. There are only 3 contested districts in this race this year. The first is in Campus Area District 8, where incumbent alder MGR Govindarajan decided not to seek re-election. That's pretty standard with a lot of these student area seats. You know, people usually serve for 1 or 2 terms and then kind of go off to their next thing, usually because they graduate and go on to live their full professional lives. And running for the seat, District 8, are 2 UW sophomores, Bobby Gronert and Ellen Zhang. Gronert is majoring in political science, whereas Zhang is majoring in sociology and economics. So big stuff happening over in the UW area. Meanwhile, in the South Side, District 14, incumbent alder Isidore Knox Jr. has decided not to seek re-election, and running for his seat are Noah Lieberman and Kate Blood. You might remember Noah Lieberman's name because he's run for that seat twice before and came close to winning years ago when the election was tied and decided simply by chance. So perhaps third time's the charm here for Noah in District 14. And then lastly, our last contested district in this election season is West Side District 20, where Islam Khaliji, who had previously run for city council under the first name Sammy, is challenging incumbent alder Barbara Harrington McKinney. So it will be another one to watch there. And then, of course, in all of the other even-numbered districts, incumbent alders are running unopposed. So a few things to watch here. We will be looking at these races and exciting times on city council. We love city council elections. I don't know. I like watching them. We'll see what happens. I don't know. You guys excited about city council elections?
Yeah, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. So I'm so excited about city council elections, Haley.
I believe it.
So I would say I'm surprised there's not more contested races. I mean, this is probably standard, but it just feels like people are more politically engaged lately. And I would have thought more people would have jumped in, especially with this new staggered system where I think there's a little more attention on, you know, individual districts than when there's all 20 running at the same time.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if people are maybe like a little bit burnt out from like there was just an election last year. And now the folks who, you know, maybe did throw their hat in the ring before are kind of just like, I'm not going to do that again. There might not be as many contested races in city council, but there are a decent number of contested races here in the county board. This is the last one in sort of the local regional scene, the Dane County Board of Supervisors. All 37 seats are up for grabs, and roughly a third of them, 13 races, are competitive. And it looks like there's going to be at least 3 races with primaries. So I'm not going to go through all of the 13 competitive ones because that's just a lot of names. But we will have resources where folks can look up their districts and find out who they're voting for, if it is competitive or if not. But right now, the ones I want to dig into are the ones with the primaries. And the first one is happening over in District 12, which is out near the Dane County Regional Airport. Sean Burke and Otis Harris Jr. are both challenging incumbent Tommy Rylander. So like I said, that is the north side of Madison, District 12. And then over in District 15, if you guys remember, April Kageo, she resigned back in December. And now Rick Cruz, Amy Larson, and Anthony Nino Amato are running to represent this Middleton area seat. And then lastly, District 28, Aaron Linus and Nathan McGree are challenging incumbent Michelle Doolin. So interesting to see that there are at least a few primaries happening in the Dane County Board. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here in the Dane County Board of Supervisors race. So we'll definitely want to dig into that more. But the last election that we want to talk about today, because there's, like I said, so many elections, this one is for State Supreme Court. There are 2 candidates who are competing for an open seat that is being vacated by retiring Justice Rebecca Bradley. And they are Chris Taylor, who is the State Court of Appeals judge for the Madison-based Southwestern 4th District. And then there is Maria Lazar, who is the State Court of Appeals judge for the Waukesha area Southeastern 2nd District. So, of course, we've said it before, this race is, quote, technically, unquote, nonpartisan, but these candidates both have their distinct points of view, and Taylor is backed by Democrats, whereas Lazar is backed by Republicans. And at the end of the day, this race probably won't be as wild as our last Supreme Court election, because no matter who wins, liberals will still have the majority in the court until 2028. It's just a matter of how much. So if Taylor wins, the liberal majority would increase from 4-3 to 5-2. So another big one for us to watch. If you guys remember, our last Supreme Court race was one of the most expensive elections of all time ever. So I don't think that will happen again here because, like we said, there's not the ideological balance of the court hanging in this election. It's just more of a who's going to hold on to that majority and by how much for a few years.
Well, that was gorgeous, Haley. Haley just brought so much. Thank you for pulling together all of the elections that we're looking forward to and who's running. It is really fun. These are people who walk around and like go out to eat and live in Madison with us. And then they want to, serve us as our elected officials. So we will be watching and voting and paying attention to all of that. Thanks for bringing that. We got more news to get to, but before we do, let's take a quick break. From one competition to the next, we were talking about coming elections. Now we want to turn to the Olympics. Rob, you have the story there.
Yeah, the 2026 Winter Olympics, believe it or not, start in less than a month, I think.
Yay!
I'm excited. Opening ceremonies are February 6th, and this year it's being called Milano Cortina 2026 because they're being held in northern Italy in Milan and Cortina.
And we're all going to go, and we're going to be fashion.
Let's do it.
CityCast, Madison in Italy. Let's go.
Are you guys big, aside from the fashion, you guys big Olympics watchers?
I love watching the Olympics, but I don't feel like I can be like, oh, I watch it every year. I'm not like supreme, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I love seeing the athleticism. I love seeing all the gossip that comes out of the Olympic villages. But I'm not such a hardcore watcher. If it's on, I definitely am interested, no matter what sport, honestly.
I think that's how I am. Like my ideal Olympic experience is just turning on the TV and watching a sport I've never heard of and the best athletes in the world giving their hearts out to competing in it. Like that's the quintessential Olympics experience to me.
Yeah, and when someone wins or like does the thing, like I just love crying at the beauty of the human spirit.
Yeah. Do you have a winter or summer preference, or are they both good?
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like winter is like we need something to be excited about.
That's kind of how I feel. It kind of comes at the right time in February, and I don't know. I mean, we're in Wisconsin, and I mean, just cold weather sports are kind of in our blood. Skiing and skating and hockey. There's one more reason to watch this February because the Team USA Women's Olympic Hockey Team will have not one, not two, but 6 Badgers on its roster. And that gives UW-Madison the most players on the team of any university in the United States. And
wow.
Yeah. And it's the most for the Badgers since 2010 when Mark Johnson, of course, has been the coach of the Badgers for 22 years, I think, at this point. Wow. He coached the team with 7 Badgers players.
That's incredible. That is really awesome.
Yeah.
How freaking cool is that to be a college student and an Olympian? Like, I literally could not.
I would love to give that excuse to my professors why, like, I can't make class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need someone to take notes for me. Yeah, I gotta go. Yeah,
gotta go to the Olympics.
I'll be on the TV. Yeah, yeah. So Layla Edwards, Carolyn Harvey, Ava McNaughton, and Kirsten Sims are all current players on the Badgers team who made the cut, and they join alums Britta Curl Salemi, who now plays pro hockey for the Minnesota Frost, and Hillary Knight, who plays for the Seattle Torment. In addition, Wisconsin's current athletic trainer, Stephanie Arndt, and a former Wisconsin director of operations / equipment manager, Sis Paulson, are also going to be joining Team USA in Italy. So that's like a lot of Badgers on and off the ice supporting the team.
Go Badgers.
Yeah, it was like, we claim them. Minnesota Frost and Seattle Torment. They're ours.
Yeah. Knight is no stranger to the Olympics. This is going to be 5 Olympics she has played in, the most of any American hockey player. And Layla Edwards will become the first Black woman ever to play for the Team USA hockey team in the Olympics, which is obviously a huge deal. She told NBC that this is like what she's been working for. She said, quote, "This is the number one thing that motivates me to keep going. So they can see someone who looks like them, but also someone who looks like them succeeding at the highest level." So that rocks, right?
See, I'm already crying. Like these are the stories that the Olympics bring.
Right. Yeah. All 6 players have already played for Team USA. Last November, December, they played Team Canada in what's called the Rivalry Series and won 4-0. Sorry, Canada.
Dang. Sorry, Rob. How's that feel?
I'm American.
in this situation.
Yeah. I have lots of people to root for at the Olympics. Yeah. But it should be a great series. Observers are expecting it to be like the most competitive women's hockey series ever. One big reason is I mentioned the pro sports. This is the first Olympics since the launch of the Professional Women's Hockey League in 2024. And so that's raised both like the level of play and the excitement and fans getting interested, heated rivalries between the players. And so like it's supposed to be a lot more energy and excitement around than in past years. So I think it's going to be great. And the first match is a preliminary round against Czechia on February 5th, in which they will face another Badger. And that's UW-Madison freshman, Adela Shapovalov. She's the first European to play for the UW and the first Badger to play for a team other than the USA or Canada. And earlier this week on Tuesday night, all 5 of the current Badger players were on the court at the men's basketball game and got a standing ovation from the audience. So it was like their own personal opening ceremonies.
That's awesome. We are living in the golden age of women's sports right now, and I love it.
Yeah, I did not know I was going to be feeling this good in this conversation. That was a real big spirit lifter.
I'm glad. I was just thinking, Burnell's, that women's sports bar on the east side, that place is going to be rocking during the Olympics, right?
Yes, that is the exact place to go. Yeah, go back and listen to that conversation. Go check out Burnell's bar. Honestly, that sounds like a blast. With all this beautiful energy, we're going to turn to our member shout-outs. It's our first batch of shout-outs of the year. Are y'all excited?
Oh, yeah. I love shout-outs.
Yes. If you don't know out there listening, these shout-outs are from our CityCast Madison neighbors. It's one of the perks of supporting our show. You get to send some love to local businesses and people and organizations who are doing good work here in town. Let's dig in. I'm going to start us off. We got a shout-out from Lauren B., quote, "The Strength Collective, a new 24/7 gym in Monona. They have a huge focus on quality and community. I love that you see the owners in their daily walk in the walk. One of the owners is a world powerlifter." Yes, Lauren, I love this. And I happen to have gone to the Strength Collective because a lot of the people that came together to get that started were trainers over at Cap Fit, including my old trainer, Mike Onsrud, a close friend who's been on the show. Those trainers are really good people, and the show is really fun because he was also, Mike Onsrud was the Burger King champion of the Strip Mall Carnival over at the Muskie Lounge for several years in a row. So, not only are they lifting well, but they're having fun. So I love that shout out. So Lauren Beef with the Strength Collective.
I love that. They're lifting, they're eating, they've got the range. Our next shout out comes from Jane H. She's giving her shout out to Green Life Trading Co. They have the best rosemary scented laundry detergent and bulk chai tea. And those two things both sound amazing. I need to run over and get some rosemary scented laundry detergent. And if it's any indication of how nasally I sound right now, I definitely need chai tea in bulk at this moment.
Speaking of nice aromas, Karen R. wanted to throw a big thanks to Isthmus Eats for proving that meal kits can be convenient, include locally sourced ingredients, not wrapped in tons of packaging, and still affordable. They make home cooking easy and delicious. And I was looking at the menu, and they do make some pretty good stuff. There was like grilled huli chicken and like these paneer fusion tacos. It looked pretty good. Yeah.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Trying to save some time. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, those are really great shout outs to start out the year. We also have some new neighbors to call out today. Hello, neighbors. Welcome to the squad, Joan B., Bradley S., and Margaret S. Y'all, we are so happy to have you here and thankful for your support.
Yes, we love all of our neighbors. Thank you for supporting our show and the work that we do here. We did get a note from Miss Karen R. As to why she joined the neighbor program. She said, quote, "As someone who's seen 60 plus trips around the sun, I joined CityCast Madison to stay involved with what's happening around town and to support the local journalism that keeps Madison such a vibrant community." Karen, thank you so much for sharing those kind words with us. Thank you so much for being part of the CityCast Madison neighborhood, for supporting the work that we do. If you want to become a neighbor, thank you. We will see you. You can just head to membership.citycast.fm, join our neighbor program, get some of these sweet perks, give your shout out, get a shout out, and know that you are supporting our team right here in Madison. Again, that's membership.citycast.fm.
Yes, we'll keep you up to date and with the good news and the bad news, but the news that you need to know, like this last story that we have to share. A huge bummer, an unwelcome restaurant closing. Himmel Chuli, the Nepali restaurant that's been on State Street since 1986, closed at the start of this year. I didn't see it coming January 1st. I see you guys mourning and shaking your head. How are you feeling?
I feel like we were all blindsided by this news that they posted. They're like, we're closing January 1st. And they posted that like on December 31st. They were like, no time. We're done.
Brutal. It was brutal.
It was brutal. Himmel Chuli, the wonderful, truly, deeply nourishing, well-spiced, and so darn healthy Nepali food. It was integral to my Madison life in so many ways, and I know for so many Madisonians. And for y'all listening, if you haven't been, but you've been on State Street, you've likely passed it. It's got this, what I'll call an iconic red awning with gold writing and these like artful line-painted set of eyes. And then the front window is like full of these huge succulents. And then you walk inside and it's like wooden seats and tables and warm colors and more plants. Like everything about it was storybook and in beautiful culture. The food was so fooding. I don't know. It's just like, it really was one of the best spots. It's one of those things that you just think, oh, it's always going to be here. But yeah, owner Krishna Pradhan posted on their Facebook page, they said, quote, "For over 39 years, the space has been more than a restaurant. It has been a place of gathering for nourishing food, comfort, and connection, where Nepali flavors brought people together. Himmel Chuli has been a place of warmth and care." So true. Though this chapter ends, the legacy of nourishing food and hospitality lives on. In the post, though, they also say to visit Krishna's son, Rajan Pradhan's restaurant, Amma, which is over at 809 Williamson Street, which I've gone to many times and also has, fantastic food and decorations. That's one of my favorites, but it's still sad for Himmel Chuli.
It's the end of an era, truly. 2026 kicked it off by losing a real one, but glad that Amma's sticking around. Glad that we still can get some of that familiar flavors out there over on Willie Street. But this is going to be a big shakeup over on State Street. Makes me very sad.
Yeah. If you like a restaurant, go there and support it, because you never know.
You never know.
It is cool the next generation lives on. We'll leave it on that note. Go to Amma. Y'all, thanks for rounding up the news with me this week. Excited for the new year. We're here. Haley Sperling, thank you so much.
Thanks, Bianca. Happy 2026. We made it.
Woo! And Rob Thomas, thank you.
Thank you, Bianca.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm your host, Bianca Martin. We're produced by Jade Iseri Ramos with help this week from Elizabeth Kama, Noah Snyderman, and Adrian Gonzalez. Haley Sperling is our executive producer. Our theme music is by Carl Christensen. Rob Thomas is our newsletter editor. You can get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to Madison Minutes. Don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. And if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone who loves public meetings and democracy? Run for office. All right, see you back here Monday morning with more stories from around the city. Until then, thanks for listening and have a great weekend.